yes, we are moving along our planned trajectory, which you could say was announced at the beginning of the year. What constitutes the EvoSim ecosystem is not just a game. In fact, it's not a game at all. You could say it's an international telecom operator. I will always keep repeating this. We provide our clients with connectivity in 190 countries around the world through eSIM technology. And this is the absolutely main and most crucial key element, the primary and most significant key product, and the fundamental and core key idea that we are actively promoting and diligently developing within our business. And the game, which is a truly innovative and engaging gamified layer that we meticulously created, serves as a powerful and effective booster for us to attract a very specific and highly engaged audience. An audience primarily interested in the evolving world of Web3, individuals deeply connected in some meaningful way to the burgeoning crypto economy, Web2 users who are still very much accustomed to interacting with various products, diverse businesses, and other people through traditional and operational communications and established social networks, and accordingly through such a remarkably simple and accessible form as a captivating game. Is it possible to set it up so that when a person joins, they're automatically muted in the settings? Who created the room? I'll set it up right now. Yes, there are settings for that. When a new person joins, they're automatically muted. There, I clicked it. It should be set now. Yeah, I clicked it too. All right, all good. Okay. And so we can all see our product, EvoSim game, which entered its active phase starting in February. At first we gathered an audience and then we brought them into our EvoSim game product ecosystem with tower economy, crafting, upgrades, and drone mechanics that everyone really loves. And now finally, we've arrived at our fully developed concept. You could say that what we see now is like a puzzle laid out on the table, and we're gradually putting each piece in place, one after another. And very soon, within this month, you could say the final puzzle piece will be added to this picture and the entire ecosystem will come together. It will all connect and most people will finally understand where they've arrived, why they've come here, and why we are incorporating these kinds of gamified elements into our product. So what awaits us? This is what we can expect within the next month. Most likely this will happen at the end of August, or possibly, and even more likely at the beginning of September. Because IT timelines are a different story, and we are preparing for the release of a very major update. You could say this will be the most significant update for us. We are integrating our product, our core business, into the gaming ecosystem. Yes, into what you could call our crypto product, the Web3 product EvoSim game. We are integrating, already connecting the eSIM service itself with the entire Web3 ecosystem. How will this look? This is kind of our next logical stage of development, which is part of our roadmap. I believe we are releasing it at exactly the right time, at the right moment. Over the summer, we have been going through, well, not quite finished yet. We are still in a relaxed mode, gradually testing different hypotheses. Many leaders, many people have tried different sources of traffic. It's possible to attract new users. We tried different marketing strategies. We saw who has already emerged as a leader and who became interested in the product because they genuinely like the whole ecosystem, and who came here temporarily just to pursue their own interests. And so by autumn, we are entering a new intense and serious stage of development with the product, with a full-fledged positioning of what EvoSim game is, what EvoSim is in general, and that EvoSim is not just a game. In fact, you could say it's more than a game. It's an entire ecosystem. And with the integration of this product, we will have a certain kind of interaction in the industrial layer as follows. The interface will change. It will become even more interesting, and it will take on a more fintech-like appearance. And all actions will be tied to the product. All our towers, all our gameplay elements, they all remain. It's just that they will now shift a bit into a secondary role. Previously, our game was, you could say, the main focus because we didn't have a product to offer yet. We were mostly building our audience, growing the community, generating interest, and naturally we emphasized the fact that we had towers. At first, people started buying towers, and then we emphasized that this isn't just some element where you buy something to get something else. We have game mechanics that the community strongly requested us to add. Naturally, we've reached this stage, but now the product is like the head of our family. It takes the leading position in our branding. It's our main focus now. And users who enter into the application will no longer just see a simple game. They'll see a very specific and highly functional fintech tool, a comprehensive Web3 tool that inherently possesses a gamified aspect, where an individual person can effectively spend their valuable time and subsequently gain additional tangible benefits through the immersive gaming experience. But the primary and most significant focus will be that we are now EvoSim, a comprehensive and innovative ecosystem that you could truly say sets the very first and foundational narrative in the entire world: use to earn. This is when you use a product and get rewarded for it. And our narrative will be built around the idea: use, spend your megabytes, do what you do every day. And every day people consume a large amount of internet, and the internet is the second most consumed product in our lives after water. And every person, when they wake up, immediately checks their phone and they use it through the internet. Naturally, they consume a lot of a large amount of megabytes. And of course, we will continue to spread this narrative and encourage people to come, buy the product, install the eSIM, connect the eSIM from the telecom operator to their phone, and do everything they do in their everyday life. Nothing in your life changes, none of your habits change. You don't need to do anything new. You just use the internet, great, high quality, all over the world without restrictions. There's no need to use a VPN or anything like that. Get a great high quality product, and for that receive a reward system from EvoSim. How does it work? Through tokenization. That is, all users who are on behalf of the towers will have an option. They will have a certain daily traffic limit that they can monetize. For each type of tower, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and so on, depending on your empire level, you will be given a specific daily traffic limit that can be converted into Evo tokens. So, for example, you bought, say, a 4G tower, and you have, for instance, a daily limit of 200 megabytes or 300 megabytes that can be converted into Evo tokens. To do this, you simply connect your app, your account in the EvoSim app, where you purchase traffic, to the Web3 product, which is our EvoSim game, and you link these accounts once by going through and merging them via email from your account. You link this account. Next, you install the eSIM on your phone, switch your internet from your regular operator to the eSIM operator, and basically you don't have to do anything else. And every day your limit will be automatically used, consumed, and converted at a certain rate into Evo tokens. In other words, an element called efficiency will be introduced. It's kind of, I don't even remember the Russian translation of the word. It's, can someone remind me, how is efficiency translated? It's when you get a certain amount of something, like a difficulty coefficient. Yeah, you're mining something. That's one way to put it. There will be a recalculation coefficient for a certain number of megabytes. How many Evo tokens you get per megabyte? That's efficiency. That's it. You, of course, use your megabytes. You can use the maximum available to you. You can use the minimum, or you can choose not to use any at all. But for whatever you do use, your tokens will automatically accumulate in your balance, and every 24 hours, they will be automatically credited to your balance without any need for claims. That is, tokens that are linked through mining. Tokens that will be linked through using the product. So you use the product, and by using the product, you receive tokens. You won't need to claim them. They will be automatically credited to your balance. In a way, this will be a tool where a person simply comes to the product, well, essentially to the business. He bought himself a tower, then he bought the product, connected it once, and can leave for a week, a month, 2 months, or even 3 months. But the tokens will automatically be recalculated, converted, and accumulated on the balance, and will be available for withdrawal at any time when the person logs into our Web3 product. Then this person can use these tokens for any of their own interests. So they can withdraw them, exchange them for eSIM tokens, and withdraw or exchange them for liquid crypto, just like it currently works in our liquidity pool, which is large, backed by us, and allows people to collect and receive these rewards. Or the person can move with these tokens to a unified layer. Well, how to move? He simply has the tokens on his balance. He clicks a button, either the card button or the drones button, and he gets back to his towers. He can continue to upgrade them. He can keep crafting them and obtain various new gaming experiences through game mechanics. Or for example, in raids, he can go on raids, keep flying, and earn some additional experience and some extra profit for himself. But this will be more of an additional gamified funnel, which gives the person an opportunity to gain extra value in the game and naturally generates an additional commission model for the project. The raid system will also undergo some changes. It will get an update, a modernization, since we are already launching the product. And the product is the main thing, and it will be based on this. I believe it's fundamentally wrong if someone raids income that was already earned during the active phase, right? The person used the internet, they are using the product. He earned those tokens and then someone else takes them from him just because they're fast, nimble, and quick. In the current game mechanics, yes, that's normal. There are claims. It's not hard to log in once a day to claim, but when it comes to the product side, when there's a connection to the product, that would be wrong. That's why raids will get their own new update, a new upgrade. They won't affect people's claims. So people will no longer claim, attack, or raid other towers or other people. A different reward system will be introduced. There will be a specific reward pool that will accumulate from the commission portion. And this reward pool will be distributed among those who actively participate in raids with the same random coefficient. It's all about luck, whoever gets lucky. We'll tweak the coefficient a bit, make it a little more interesting and exciting so rewards drop more often. All right, who's muted and who's not? Accordingly, when more interesting and significant coefficients drop, they'll be considerably rarer. So either you find absolutely nothing at all, or you get a remarkably high coefficient. This particular approach ensures that we won't have people in the various chats constantly complaining that they're always getting very little, which can be quite frustrating for them. So this will be purely a game mechanic. As I've always said, it's an optional additional mechanic where a person can, if they have the time, exchange that time for extra profit, potential profit. But it has never been and will never be the main mechanic. Naturally, there will also be additional pools added, which will be generated from our commission model that we're developing. These pools will be somewhat like maybe like a jackpot system. Yes, just to make it easier to understand. Users who regularly participate in these raids will accumulate a certain number of attempts or say tickets, points, or tokens. And naturally, at some point, a certain amount from this pool will be randomly distributed. And a person will be able to win a big jackpot of Evo tokens for participating in this mechanic. So once again, let me repeat, drones and everything related to the game mechanics are an additional model within our entire ecosystem. This entire ecosystem, this particular model, is more deeply focused on significantly increasing overall user engagement and accordingly providing them with some valuable additional options and functionalities. If someone wants to do something, enjoys GameFi, wants to develop, and is interested in progressing. So the drone system, it will continue to evolve. All the elements I mentioned earlier will keep growing. We'll have classifications and we'll have specific workshops. In raids, you'll be able to gather resources and so on. All of this will happen. The only thing is, from the moment the product launches, drones will no longer affect other people's raids. In other words, raids will take place in a sort of NPC model. There will be corporate towers that you'll search for, extract resources from, and of course, potentially profit from them. The profit will continue to be generated through the commission model, where you pay 10% for this attack, plus the commission that is generated. All of this will go into the reward pool, and in addition to raids and the potential rewards you get from raids, people who participate in raids will be eligible each time for a share or even the entire jackpot collected from the commission generated by these same raids. That's regarding the raids. Accordingly, starting in the fall, we have a lot of intensive work ahead of us, both technical, leadership, and partnership related. Autumn is a period when basically all our pieces of the puzzle come together into a single picture. Starting from September, we will have a very strong product in terms of positioning. We will no longer look like some kind of game mechanic or just a game at all, because I understand certain pains right now since we're moving according to the map, but everyone judges based on what's available at the moment. And the people who talk to me or to the leaders, even back in February, they can always say how it was positioned, that we have an ecosystem. First, we make a tapper, then we make a GameFi product, then we gather an audience, start delivering the product, and then we convert it into a product. Then we start converting the product itself and then fully launch it as a fintech into the world. So in a way, we are moving forward. But there are people who joined us, for example, in Sept, in June or May. They didn't see our previous traction. They didn't hear what the plans would be. There are many users who come through influences, through traffic. They don't see any of that. When they enter the game, they see some drones, some raids, some towers. And for them, it's just a full-fledged game. And many of the guys in our product, in our ecosystem, who are making good money here from the game model, don't even fully realize that there's some kind of business behind it. Many people even doubt that this business exists. Some, I've even heard, think that these are two different companies. So there are a lot of such doubts and barriers among people simply because they don't see a product in the product. In other words, they don't see a product in the game. Well, that's normal. That's the direction we're heading in. And starting from September, we'll already have a complete picture, the full vision that we see. We'll have an interesting positioning, use and earn. We will all become clients of the EvoSim product. Every user will become an ambassador for this product. Right away, in practice, they will test it themselves, understand how it works, see the advantages of our product over others, and naturally recommend it to their acquaintances and friends. And since we have many geolocations, yes, where there are certain restrictions, you need to use a VPN and so on. Our EvoSim is a great alternative. There's no need to use a VPN anymore because, as I mentioned earlier, we are a roaming operator, and in any country we are listed as an international operator, a roaming operator, and we are not subject to the restrictions of internal firewalls. So even in the most closed off countries, for example in China, our internet works perfectly. We can access all Facebook, Instagram, Telegram. There are no restrictions at all. And naturally, all the users who join in and use this feature will experience this for themselves. And every new user who joins our product will immediately understand that they haven't just entered a game, but rather they've entered an interesting ecosystem of a mobile telecom operator, which is promoting its business, one of its channels, through Web3, targeting an audience that is interested in various opportunities. And what we will have is a telecom operator who actually pays for internet usage. Why do they pay? Because we have a marketing budget. As I've explained more than once already, this is the reason we're doing all of this. Instead of at our current stage, when we're still quite small compared to our major competitors, trying to take market share from them through traditional marketing. But that's very difficult and most likely impossible with the budgets we have. But if we take these budgets into Web3 and offer a reward system like this, right? In fact, it's essentially a comprehensive reward program where we strategically invest our dedicated marketing funds into this particular marketing reward pool, which is designed to benefit our valued participants. And by being part of our ecosystem, by helping to popularize and promote our product, by participating in and using our product, you're essentially mining this marketing budget as your own reward onto your accounts in the form of EVA tokens, which you can go and convert at any time into any cryptocurrency available to you. This will be our main positioning, that we are an ecosystem where roaming, a mobile operator, rewards its users through Web3 gamification for using its internet. And our core mechanic is used to earn. Moving on. In the fall, we are planning a very significant, you could say, tactical shift and scaling up. Since we started, as you all remember, know and feel, in Telegram, in the Ton ecosystem, because the narrative, mini apps, everything was launched very quickly. Everything was very convenient. But many people know, and for those who don't, I'll say it, Ton is a rather limited ecosystem. Even though it's large and there aren't that many users, it's popular in certain parts of the world, in specific geolocations, and in many places it isn't perceived as something trustworthy or reliable. And since there is still a certain lingering reputation from not very high quality or even outright poor or unscrupulous projects that have passed through the Telegram ecosystem, there is a certain perception in the world, especially abroad, that there aren't any serious projects here. Plus, again, we understood this and always said that the moment would come when we would go beyond Telegram because our project is very global with billion-dollar ambitions, and Telegram alone would never be enough for us to reach the audiences we're interested in. And in September, after the launch of the main product and the integration of the main product into our EvoSim game, we'll move on to the next stage, transitioning to the Web3 version, the mobile web version. Accordingly, it will no longer be necessary to use only Telegram to access it. You'll be able to just follow a link. You'll land in the mobile application, but in the browser version, you'll be able to log into the game not only through Telegram, but also using other social networks or a Web3 wallet, as is common in the crypto world. And accordingly, we already have a partnership, we have agreements, and very good close relations with the Layer 0 protocol. We're preparing a big joint collaboration on integration. They're adding the TON network to their network and will be one of the flagship projects that, using Layer 0 technology, will move and transfer our liquidity pools to other chains. So, as I've told the leaders many times, we're going to have a side chain, we're going to be multi-chain, and we won't be present only in the TON Telegram, TON ecosystem. TON will be just one of the chains where you can go buy tokens and deposit them into the game. Or if you want to withdraw your tokens and you're used to TON, you can withdraw them within the TON ecosystem. But for other users, say from Asia or from America, from Europe, who are used to other blockchains and other ways of accessing things, this will be very convenient. For example, they will be able to use Solana and other chains to buy our token and join our ecosystem. For us, this opens up a very large market of users, a very large market of liquidity, because in TON, as you know, there is actually very little liquidity. If you open any DEX on TON right now and look at how much liquidity is in the tokens, I can confidently say that EvoSim is probably in the top 3, if not the number 1, in terms of liquidity in the TON ecosystem. This doesn't mean that we have the most money out of all the projects, but in terms of our liquidity, in our liquidity pool in the DEX, we've probably put in more money than any other TON project. If you look at Solana, then our liquidity there is more like a low cap project compared to other projects. There, we're already talking about billions. So you understand, TON is actually a very small, it's like a soap bubble where basically the same people live and communicate with each other. There's not much liquidity here, but in the world and in other chains, it exists. And I understood this. And we as a team understand it too. And we're gradually moving in that direction. Naturally, what awaits us starting in September? We will have a fully developed concept of our product, which will continue to be refined, improved, with new mechanics added, additional features, and new branches in all the directions we have. Accordingly, the release of the mobile version of our product, not the ISM business itself, but specifically the business component, the Web3 part, where all of us participate and you have the opportunity to earn, and accordingly further expansion into new markets. In particular, we are currently working very actively with the Asian market, with the Asian continent. We are interested in that audience. It's very large. And naturally, they are among the first to expect expansion to other chains because TON isn't particularly respected there. That's the situation. But starting in September, we'll already be able to expand into these regions. We already have a lot of interesting partnerships with the local top 1, top 2, and top 3 influencers. Very, very soon, we will be officially announcing our exciting collaboration with a truly major and significant Asian conference that will be held in the beautiful and vibrant city of Bali, Indonesia. This is the largest Web3 conference of its kind, where all the influencers from around the world, especially the top Asian ones, come together, participate, and host various events. It's a highly respected conference. We are official partners and you could say service providers for this conference. So our users, clients who attend this conference will receive a complimentary SIM card from us with a special plan for Bali, Indonesia, so they can spend their time there and stay connected. For us, this is a major promotional opportunity, a micro integration where over 15,000 people will instantly learn about us, and many of them will try our product. Plus, this gives us a huge reach and an introduction in the Asian market among influencers who operate on a much larger scale and as a result can bring in hundreds of thousands of people from their audience in a single day when they start posting and sharing this product. That's it. That's the plan, so to speak. Of course, we're also developing in terms of partnerships and collaborations. All of those are in progress for us. In the near future, most likely in the 5th month, another major collaboration will be released with a big web tier 1 project, and naturally, starting from September, we have a whole series of projects lined up one after another. We want to make this fall really hot and turn it into a launch pad for our ecosystem. And to be perfectly honest, the CIS region is not and will not be our main focus. In other words, we're moving toward global development. We have a lot of strong people, our potential partners who are interested in bringing our project to other regions and are ready to support us on an infrastructure level, specifically in terms of backing major key projects in the world of Web3 and crypto. But everyone is waiting for our main product concept and our entry into the global market, starting from the Ton ecosystem. That's why, starting from the fall, there will be a lot happening in terms of planning and development. At the moment, what we have is that we're working closely every day. The team is in an active phase of work. Right now, we're not releasing any patches because there's no point in doing so at this stage. All the basic game mechanics that we wanted to integrate have been integrated in their basic form. Next, according to our roadmap, we plan to integrate the product, and after the product integration and the release of the web version, we'll be sure that we're not limited in any way and don't have to worry that someone can't access it for some reason, like if Telegram stops working in their country. We can confidently and gradually refine and improve both the game mechanics themselves, developing, for example, a more engaging and interesting game model related to towers and drones for those who are interested, and of course, continue to develop the product itself by adding new services and features to make the product more interesting, more attractive, and more profitable for the EvoSim ecosystem as a whole. Because the more products we can sell there, naturally, the more revenue we can generate, which is important to us. This is important to us as Traction so that we can scale our fintech product, move on to further funding rounds, and of course, raise additional funding and continue to scale global marketing in order to achieve our global goals. That is to bring the EvoSim fintech startup to the international level and turn it into a company with a multi-billion-dollar valuation. This is our main goal. So, commencing this upcoming fall season, yes, we will already have the fully developed EvoSim ecosystem in place, where the absolutely main and most crucial key product is the eSIM itself, which is truly innovative. Through the use of this eSIM, our entire community that came to Web3, essentially a part of the business focused on gamification, will be able to earn their profit through the tokenization we have created and the liquidity we provided at the very start of our business. That's basically our plan. We're moving forward. Everything is great. Everything is super. And now let's move on to any questions. If there are any topics you'd like to clarify or ask about, I'll answer them now.
Good evening, everyone. May I ask a question?
Yes.
I wanted to ask, if possible, about some numbers and trends. For example, how many active users are there now? What's the growth rate? Are there any figures like that you could share?
Of course, we have all the numbers, all the product metrics, both game-related and product-related.
Could you give a general overview, like how many new users per day or per month? What's our current trend? For example, how many active users are currently playing the game? Just so we have an understanding of where we are right now, how to feel it, how we're growing. Cool. Point A, point B.
All right, I'll put it this way. First of all, there's the metric for the number of unique users who log in. That's simply people who have logged in. Then this metric gradually shifts from quantity to quality. So initially we had a lot of people who signed up and registered, but didn't make any in-game purchases. But now that number is growing. Currently, we have about 4,500 to 6,000 users logging into the game daily who interact with game assets, have made purchases somewhere, and so on. Our average check is growing by 10 to 15% month over month. In other words, the value of the average check is increasing. The number of users is also experiencing a significant and consistent increase on a monthly basis. For instance, if you carefully examine the summer period, specifically from the beginning of June through the end of July, we observed a remarkable growth of approximately 70% in terms of our overall online presence and digital footprint, indicating a substantial expansion of our reach and engagement during that time frame. So there are 70% more of us now. In August, we are maintaining the peak numbers that we reached in July. And I truly believe that by this coming September, we will most likely experience significant growth, perhaps another 30 to 40%, from the absolute peak value we had achieved in July. So, if we meticulously compare the number of active users month to month, these are indeed our truly active users. We are definitely observing a consistent growth of 25 to 30% in our user base every single month. That's for sure. As for the EvoSim product, right now we don't have a full-fledged traffic transfer in place. These are people who have actually gotten to know the product through information, through the game, or through some news. And if they needed it, they made a purchase. So, as of right now, if we carefully look at the comprehensive statistics from the precise moment we officially launched our innovative game model, considering the significant and consistent growth we've experienced, we have successfully gained approximately 1,000 unique and valuable users who have each made at least one initial and important purchase of our primary product offering. Now, with the launch of the main business and the core products within the game mechanics, I expect that we will immediately see an increase of at least 2,000 users in the first month thanks to this game mechanic. And after that, it will continue to grow by about 70 or 80% of the number of users who join the game mechanics themselves. I believe that we will have a conversion rate of at least 70 to 80% of people who enter the game. They will immediately become product consumers because it's profitable, it's interesting, and it's essentially the main model through which people will earn. That's how it looks in terms of numbers. We're not buying any kind of mass paid traffic right now, like Minyap does or used to do, because that kind of traffic doesn't work. Right now, we're working specifically with our internal community. This includes the partner network, referrals, UGC content, influencer marketing, and of course, certain marketing strategies and collaborations that can immediately bring in a large community. A large one right away.
Thank you very much. Really, this is great news. You can really feel the scale and level. It's honestly impressive. It honestly lifts my mood just being part of this company. And I also wanted to ask, will it be possible to use, well, it's just that I bought myself an expensive phone. Unfortunately, it doesn't have eSIM. Can I buy internet for someone else? Will that count as, well, traffic, or how does that work?
It's all very simple. Well, first of all, almost all modern and new phones available now fully support eSIM technology. For those that don't support it, buying a new phone that does support eSIM actually doesn't cost that much money. So considering how much a person can earn from this opportunity, like by buying a 4G tower or a 3G tower, how much they make monthly or yearly, the cost of a phone is actually a very small expense. So in a way, it's a good reason to trade in or upgrade your phone. That's one thing. But if a person doesn't have an eSIM and maybe they don't want one, but their spouse or their kids have an eSIM, that's not a problem. You can set up an eSIM for the person, connect them to the internet, link their account to your global account, and they can just go on living their life. You're not forcing them to do anything new. You just switch the internet from one operator to another, and the person, your child, spouse, friend, goes about their business, making calls, watching videos, TikToks, Instagram, YouTube videos, and meanwhile, your traffic is being converted and you're earning tokens. So there's really no issue with that.
That's cool, really cool. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Good evening. I also wanted to ask something. Yes, thank you, Alexi, for the information. It really is encouraging and interesting. I actually have a significant suggestion sort of regarding the various raids. I'd like to specifically point out that it might at first glance look a little bit illogical. I understand that there will soon be changes to the raid mechanics themselves, but still, when you get a failure in a raid, like when it says a defense was found and so on, in my opinion, it looks a bit demotivating because, well, we're talking about people taking those tokens that someone forgot or something like that, right? So it's unclear where this defense is coming from. And that's a bit, well, illogical and as a result, demotivating. So I think here it would be possible to introduce some kind of reducing coefficients, like 0.1, 0.3, for example, right? That is so that these amounts could be collected, so to speak, so that these sums would be gathered. Well, in general, that's just a suggestion, and then we'll see how it goes.
Well, look, regarding identity or non-identity, let me share my perspective on how this looks, and the logic will become clear. What do you do during raids? You have a drone, you have a scan mission. So in a day, you have, say, 3, 5, 9, 10, or even 20 targets that you are guaranteed to find. You have a certain number of attempts to find something during the flight. When you find a target, well, hypothetically speaking, let's imagine this. You don't know if there's an alarm system when you break into a house, do you? right? Well, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. You'll find out once you break in. So you break in during a raid and it turns out there's an alarm. The police arrive and you get arrested, for example. Similarly, during a raid, there is protection in place. If it doesn't work out for you, that's it. If there's no protection, you get the profit. If someone doesn't claim their profit, it doesn't mean they can't have protection for it. Their claim automatically goes out onto the job market, so to speak. Go ahead and take it. But it might still be protected. If someone comes across such a claim with protection, then they encounter that particular mechanic. So I think there is logic to it. But as for whether there's a certain demotivation, well, you see, it's like the way a person or a tool is perceived in a situation determines the motivation or demotivation they experience. That is, not once has it ever happened that someone, officially, like company representatives, said that raids are the main mechanic that you buy towers, and now, to earn EVA tokens, you have to go out and raid. That has never happened. It has always been like this. There is an infrastructural role and there is an active role. The infrastructural role is that you buy towers, you become the owner of a certain number of, say, empires, which generate a certain amount of tokens for you daily. You don't have to do anything. Your only task is to log in at least once a day to collect. But there are people for whom that's not enough, who believe the game should be interesting, that there should be some mechanics, that they should be working towards something, be involved. For them, there is a gameplay role, an active one, where they can create strategies, mine, or search for something, resell, level up, and so on. For them, there is this raid. Raids can't be, let's say, 100% profitable. Raids can't just be a money button, so to speak. You press it, and it just keeps pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. Because you have more time, you press the money button, and you get more money than those people who don't have that time. Raids can't be more profitable than towers just because it's an active action. But even if we take, for example, people sometimes complain, I have a 1-to-1 ratio, but let's think logically. You have a 1-to-1 ratio, but let's say you spent, say, 10 or 100 EVA tokens, right? You earned 10 EVA tokens. That's 10%. Well, where else can you earn 10% in just 15 seconds? Nowhere. Well, obviously, if this were, say, a guaranteed win every time, then every 15 seconds a person would be earning 10%. But where are we supposed to generate these 10% from? Who is supposed to pay for all of this? Well, that's impossible. But we're trying to make the project as balanced as possible, right? Where the entire P2P economy is redistributed and there are clearly defined sources for replenishing all these marketing and reward pools. Naturally, raids have a more gambling-like mechanic. Yes, you participate. It's your additional optional thing. You can accept it or you can refuse. You have the main product that's being offered to you. There's an option. If you accept this option, then you agree to certain rules here. You pay something in order to potentially get something in return. But there's also a potential risk that you might end up getting nothing at all. But it was always said that if you do this once, twice, 3, 5, 10 times, there's a certain randomness that comes into play. If you do this for a long time, over a certain period, you will earn, but you won't be making millions. You'll be earning some amount, like tokens. It depends on what resources you have. If you have a level 1G tower, well, you shouldn't expect that someone with a level 1G tower will be getting potential towers worth 100 or 500 EVA with a multiplier of x7, x10, and so on. That's just unrealistic. It's wrong, it's unfair. So if someone has a level 1G tower, then most likely they should be among people who are at the same level as they are. So that's the kind of community he has. They should also be level 1G. And why should he? Why does a person get upset that they constantly get low multipliers, or not even just low multipliers, but small targets? But does he ever think that someone else also gets upset when his target comes up? So he gets upset that he gets matched with people who have small empires, but he doesn't consider that someone else might also be upset with him because he has a small empire. So it's all interconnected. If you want to be matched with big empires, then you should also own a big empire. There are stories out there, yes, people say that donors earn more, that donors get more perks, that things are rigged in their favor and so on. But that's all complete nonsense. It's ignorance. It's just people living in their own illusions. The random system works the same everywhere. It's absolutely the same for Oleg Serdyukov, who has the biggest empire, and for the person who just joined yesterday with 0G rank and 3 raids. The randomness is the same, whether it's x10, x7, or just 1. It's just obvious. If someone has 3 raids a day, they have fewer attempts than someone who has 20 attempts a day. A person can make 20 attempts a day, and among those 20 attempts, they might get multipliers of 3, 5, or x7. They immediately share this. but someone else only has 3 raids a day. For them to complete those 20 raids, it would take, say, about 8 days, maybe 7 days. They need to fly for 7 days. And they think, I've been flying for 7 days and I haven't gotten a single one. Well, that's because your number of attempts is small. Expand your empire and you'll have more attempts, and naturally, you'll have a better chance of getting it. Of course, you'll also get even more targets. That's how it is. But people tend to expect that this is unfair, that it's unclear. They think I press the button and money should just pour in for me. I get that. That's why we decided, since we're entering the next stage of development and our main focus is on the product, because we're all part of the EvoSim ecosystem, we want this opportunity to be big, long-lasting, and to give us the chance to earn a lot. We need to sell our product, we need to distribute our product, and make our product the magnet of this ecosystem, so that when people come, they have a clear explanation that this isn't just some silly game. Just think about it for a second. Let's put it this way. How does everything change just from positioning alone? When we attract someone to our current product, they enter the game. Well, they don't have the opportunity to talk to me, for example. They don't have the chance to communicate with other leaders who are more established. They have their own perception of this product. They'll just see an ad from an influencer. For example, there's Taras Miyakush, our influencer. He runs a Telegram channel. So Taras made some post, and maybe in some earlier posts, he explained that this is an EvoSim operator and a game. But how do people join the channel? They see the latest post there, and they don't bother to look into what was posted before. He comes in and sees some posts like, I bought a 3G tower, or I crafted a 3G tower and got a 5x bonus for crafting. Everyone thinks, cool, that's an interesting story. I'll check it out. He joins. What does he see right away? Some towers, some drones. A drone immediately offers him to do a raid. He goes on a raid, flies around, something doesn't work out. He doesn't get it. He expected there would be a lot because Taras is posting that he's making $50 a day, that his crafts are working out, that everything's fine for him. And he thinks, damn, where's my $50 a day? Turns out you need to buy something. Okay, but what do you buy? Some kind of towers. He looks and thinks, oh, it takes so long. I don't get rich overnight, but there you have to wait so long to break even, 4 or 5 months, according to your own math. I'll go somewhere else where I can get more faster. And that's how a person just gets caught. He sees it as just another game, one of those he can immediately, well, what games do I remember? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's Ton, the Ton ecosystem, these mini apps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he instantly has this template perception. It's a game, it's not serious. There are faster games where I can make money quicker. So he just closes it and leaves. Now, it's the same product, just positioned differently. When a person comes in, they immediately realize that they're being offered to buy a product. Right away, they're invited to go to the front-end app, get acquainted, buy the product, integrate the product with their own game mechanics, and immediately they see that they have certain metrics, numbers, coefficient. They see that 1 megabyte equals, say, 2 EVO tokens. He thinks, what do you mean 2 megabytes is 2 EVO tokens? Interesting. He starts to figure it out, looks around, goes to the app, sees there are some SIM cards, internet. He thinks, oh, there's already some kind of internet here? Interesting. He starts to dig in and figure things out. Turns out, if I buy a SIM card, install it in my phone, and use this SIM card instead of my local one, I'll get paid tokens daily for that. Interesting. I wonder how much 1 EVO token is worth. It's about 10 cents, give or take. So for 1 megabyte, I'll get 20 cents. Interesting. And he starts to see it differently now, as some kind of fintech product with a Web3 shell. There's some sort of reward system. And it turns out that for using the internet, the project will actually pay him. And he immediately starts thinking, wait, where have I seen this before? I haven't seen any projects where I get paid for using the internet. So it turns out that if there's internet here, then there's business, which means this isn't just some kind of toy. Well, for a telecom operator to build something like this on their own, it takes time. This can't be done overnight or even in a week or a month. There are contracts, companies, invoices. It's a whole set of processes. So it's a big project, a huge amount of work. Naturally, a person realizes that this is something a bit more serious than just another game. And all of this just because he saw a different kind of positioning. When he comes in just for the game mechanics, of course, it immediately feels unserious to him. When he sees that here, first and foremost, it's the product and the ecosystem itself that promote and encourage the purchase of this product. And that by purchasing and using the product, you receive rewards in the form of the ecosystem's own tokens. It all seems much more interesting, serious, and credible to him. And he no longer sees it as some silly toy like oh, I'll just throw in $10 to test it out and maybe make a quick buck. Instead, he thinks, oh, cool, I actually want to, for example, I open my phone and go to the settings. Now, every phone shows you how much internet you use per day. He goes in, checks, for example, I use 500 megabytes a day, and he thinks, okay, 500 megabytes a day. There's a 3G tower or maybe a 4G tower. Oh, if I buy a 3G tower and if I buy this SIM card and connect this SIM card to this game, I'll earn, say, a certain amount of tokens. So in fact, what is he thinking? But I'm already spending those 500 megabytes every day anyway. I don't need to go out, get something new, and do something extra. I just need to purchase something one single time, connect it to my system, and then I will continue to receive extra money for it every single day without fail. Does this become interesting to people? Of course it becomes interesting. Is it an interesting positioning? Of course it's an interesting positioning. Is there anything to compare? No. Naturally, a person's logic works differently in this case. I am confident and I know that this positioning will definitely add more seriousness, importance, and strength to our product starting from September. And this is very, well, it's logical. I understood that. I understood it. And that's why, there are stages. There are stages.
Yes, Alexei, thank you for the detailed answer. Indeed, integration is very much needed because, well, everything is just as you say. But in reality, when I talk to people, I wanted to ask two more quick questions. Is there any plan or consideration for simplifying the process of buying tokens, maybe in the future through integration with some payment systems like Mercury, MoonPay, and so on? Something like that. And the second question, the eSIM to TON rate for 2 months now, as we can see, has generally been falling. Maybe that's because TON is growing and so on, but is there any plan for the company to intervene or influence the rate, for example, by supporting the eSIM token price through a buyback, a conditional buyback or something along those lines? That's my question. Thank you.
Great question. I really want to answer it because I understand that a lot of people also don't fully understand what eSIM is for, how it works, and what you should pay attention to. Right now, people are thinking in stereotypes. People look at the price of eSIM. If eSIM is going up, it means the project is developing and everything is going well. If eSIM is going down, the project isn't developing and things are going badly. But let's remember what eSIM actually is. eSIM is the key to entering and exiting the ecosystem. You only need eSIM to access the product, to enter, exchange that eSIM for Evo, and then use Evo to buy yourself towers. If a person isn't holding eSIM, if they're not buying it to hold, then they don't care how much it costs. Whether it's 5x the current price or minus 5x the current price, it doesn't matter to them. The only thing that should concern them is the liquidity of this token, whether they can go and sell or exchange it. Why? Because our entire internal game ecosystem is tied to the Evo game token. Evo is worth 10 cents and its value always stays the same. When a person enters the game and exchanges their tons or eSIMs for Evo, they essentially lock in their unit and buy their ASTA, and ASTA generates Evo for them. If today a person received, for example, some payout of $100, they received $400 in Evo tokens. They immediately go to their internal wallets and exchange these Evo tokens for eSIMs at the current exchange rate of eSIM to the dollar. They still receive exactly $100, only now in eSIM tokens. And what do they do next? They initiate a withdrawal. As you know, our withdrawals are fast. Everything is processed very quickly. The person receives these eSIMs to their TON wallet, goes to exchanges them for TON, and receives exactly the same amount in dollars, only now in TON. It doesn't matter to them how much the eSIM costs there, 0, 0.5, $5. It makes no difference. The person always receives the same amount in dollars. Only the number of eSIMs varies. When does it start to matter to someone? It matters when they've earned Evo, then exchanged it for eSIMs, and decided to hold on to them. In that case, yes, as a holder, it's important for them to understand if it's growing. Of course, the profit he earned in the game can increase significantly, or it can drop. And accordingly, that's where speculation comes in. But we've never said that we promote speculation or that we attract people for speculation. And I always tell all the leaders that first and foremost, we don't need people who are just holding eSIMs at this stage. We're interested in people who come into the game, into the gaming ecosystem, and for them, the eSIM simply serves as a transactional element. Why are we using this? Because we're implementing a certain kind of fintech product in which we're creating our own reward system. In order to create it, you basically need to establish a certain kind of tokenization. That is, through a token, we provide this. We can't just say that we're a telecom operator handing out money to people. Well, that's not right. Immediately, the regulators would clamp down on us. That's it. We're creating a certain token economy, just like everyone else, like all other projects. We have a token economy, and it is distributed across a certain number of pools. We have a certain liquidity pool backing, which we invested on the very first day, and it is replenished by the fact that all purchases that take place go into the liquidity pool, not to us. We don't get a single penny from this. All the money spent on buying tokens in the game or in the liquidity pool stays in the liquidity pool, and it belongs to the community. In other words, the community received an investment from us, and from then on, the entire community essentially works with this liquidity. And accordingly, when a user comes in, if they buy, again, with the intention of purchasing a game asset, they buy it for $100, bring it into the game, exchange it, and receive their $100 in EVO tokens. And it doesn't matter to them whether the price was high or low. Now, regarding the course itself, of course, at a certain stage, when we have built up a large audience and are interested in expanding to external markets, like getting listed on an exchange, then we will definitely start focusing on holders as well, in order to strengthen and make the liquidity of our product denser. Is that clear? At that point, we will start working with market making. We'll be doing certain things like raising the price, trading volumes, and lowering it as well in order to attract an external market audience. But at this stage, that's what interests us. And the eSIM rate right now is very closely correlated with two stages. First and foremost, it correlates most strongly with the price of TON. So when TON was falling, our eSIM kept growing because we were moving against the trend, against the decline. And if TON hadn't been falling, our rate would have been even higher, even stronger, because in dollar terms, it would have either stayed the same or grown, which would have accelerated our growth. But during that entire initial period, yes, as it was falling, it was dragging us down, and we were moving against the trend. What's happening now? The community is finding a certain trade and economic balance. Some people make their profit and leave. Others, on the contrary, join the game, and the token kind of rises and falls. So more or less, the rate against TON is holding steady. But because TON can go up, it can pull eSIM up with it. Then TON dropped, it was at $3.08, then it fell to $3.30. So accordingly, TON lost 50 cents in value. Accordingly, eSIM is also affected by this. If TON drops in dollar terms, it drags eSIM down with it. Why? Because eSIM is traded against TON, not against USDT. Its pair is eSIM TON. And accordingly, if we want to calculate the dollar amount, we multiply eSIM by TON, and then the amount of TON by the price of TON, and we get the value of eSIM. And accordingly, if TON starts to fall, or if the whole market starts to drop and TON decreases in price, it will inevitably drag eSIM down with it at some point with a downward candle. That's normal, that's reasonable. Naturally, right now, the market is completely governed by its own free trading and economic relations. Buying and selling affects eSIM itself, and the rise and fall of TON also has an impact. So if you look now, TON has dropped from its peak, and naturally eSIM has also deviated a bit. This fall, we will launch a new, our positioning will become more global, more large scale. We will start scaling up our audience. Naturally, there will be an influx of new liquidity, a new audience, and they will immediately come to buy eSIMs. Naturally, this will again provoke the token, and it will start to grow. Naturally, it will also depend on what happens with TON. If TON falls, well, it will slow us down. If it stays the same, we will grow organically within our community. If it grows, it will accelerate us even more. That's it. So every single aspect you see on the chart, for example, let's even pick a chart. Here we see at 0.09. How did it get there? In June, at the beginning of the month, it just so happened that TON was partially growing, plus some big players with big appetites were entering the community. And naturally, at that moment, in just one day or over the course of a few days, they started buying up the token. And it overlapped in such a way that it coincided with the growth plus the growth of TON itself, which gave a double boost. We reached the high. And then naturally, the guys stocked up. And that's it. The guys are enjoying themselves. They're making a profit, gradually selling it off, and TON starts to fall. And naturally, this double pressure starts to affect the price of eSIM. And people look at eSIM and think, oh my God, it's falling. That's it. It's over. But in reality, even if it's now at 0.06 or 0.07, it doesn't matter to you at all. What you need to look at is liquidity. How much money is in the pool? And there's enough money for you to exchange your $100 200, 500, 1,000, 5, 10, 20, 50, or even $100,000. You can go and sell it all at once with a single order, and there will be enough liquidity for you. So basically, you don't need to pay attention to that. And the token, well, it will grow and become what it needs to be for several reasons. The first is the scaling of our ecosystem. As soon as more users start joining us, and at the moment when we need it, when we enter a more global market, in order to generate interest among speculators, we will of course increase the volatility of this market so that traders come in. Right now, we don't need volatility and we don't need traders. I don't want, for example, Raymond to want to bring someone in today and that person has 5,000, wants to buy a full account with 4G towers. And Raymond tells him, okay, bring this amount in TON right now. The person comes, exchanges for eSIM, and while he's calling Raymond about the eSIMs, the traders, the speculators, start trading and drive the price down by 20 cents or drop the rate by 15 cents. And then the person comes back and says, now I don't have 5,000 anymore, but only 4,250. So we don't really need that because that's why we try to keep the exchange rate at some kind of controlled value at all times. It goes up a little, then down a little, up a little, down a little, but it's not volatile. Like when during the day, it could be plus 20%, minus 20, plus 15, minus 10, plus 2 times, minus 2 times. We're not interested in that, so the exchange rate just moves along smoothly. If you see a downward slope right now, it's nothing to worry about. If you look at the charts, they go like this, then like this, then like this. We also have our own cycle. I'm not going to reveal all the cards about when it will grow and why it should grow. Now people will start coming in, guys. Speculators will buy in, and I'll be sitting there like, oh, Lesha said that something will happen soon. Now we're going to make some big gains.
Yes, thank you for the detailed answer.
You're welcome.
No, actually, the question was very relevant because I understand that many people don't understand and don't see it. And unfortunately, most people in the mass market look at it the same way. They open CoinMarketCap, see that it dropped 20% from the peak. That's it. The project has no prospects anymore. Okay. So does anyone else have any questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Listen, well, here we are, the leaders, the individuals who are actively developing, who are consistently moving forward. Here is the crucial question. What specific advice would you offer us to implement right now for achieving genuine happiness over a significant period of time? Your invaluable advice for us. What exactly should we do?
Well, let's not reinvent the wheel. All of us came here, and you in particular, to make money. And you came for the business. You didn't come for the product itself, you came for the business. You want to earn money from the fact that there is such a company, that the company and you now have shared interests. We have synergy. We want to bring EvoSim to the global international market to become a billion-dollar company. And we have a marketing plan. We have the tools for this. We are doing everything to provide the best conditions, comfort, and reliability of this product. Your task is to take it and make money. How do you make money? You have an excellent marketing plan. What can you do? But every person is already strong in their own way. Some people know how to build systems to systematize processes. Some are good at working with traffic. Some are bloggers. For some, it's easier to simply share what's happening in their life with their tool. Some are people who know how to work with affiliate programs. They know how to skillfully build strong leadership teams and work with them. Some people know how to set up traffic. Some just know how to tell everyone that the product is great and that's it. But everyone has the main goal, to make money here. So what should you do? Make money here. Just explain the product, the business.
No, that's clear on a global level. Maybe something substantial for the entire team, or perhaps some kind of very clear and well-defined plan, because obviously everyone inherently knows that they absolutely need to meticulously build a cohesive team, then diligently develop it over time, and so on. But at the same time, people might genuinely need a bit more focused direction and a clearer sense of purpose, because that's something fundamentally present and absolutely essential in any successful and thriving company. But, for example, in August, the goal could be to gather as many people as possible, whether it's those investing small amounts or someone who buys more towers, and so on. I understand you won't say it 100% directly, but at least give the team some kind of focus, something specific for August. Because it's clear that August is an interesting month, let's say, right before things really get moving. But on the other hand, people need, well, it's clear that it's hard to work. The sun is shining, you want to go swimming and so on. But at the same time, for many people, at least some kind of special feature or incentive from your side would help.
I think at the very least, check whether your phone supports eSIM technology as a first step for August. If it doesn't support it, then get ready for this. Find a friend, acquaintance, or relative who has an eSIM if they want to buy a phone for themselves. Ideally, of course, it's best to buy a phone with eSIM for yourself. If your device doesn't support eSIM, that's kind of a sign that it's time to upgrade your gadget. That's the very first piece of advice you could say for August. This is to prepare for future opportunities so that later you don't end up saying, oh, damn, can I have 2 musical seals? Yes. No. Yes. So you don't say,
Turned it off.
that mine doesn't support it. I won't be able to earn like everyone else. So that's one. And secondly, of course, right now you should be working on your audience contacts as much as possible, because I think starting in September, we're going to make a lot of noise. And it's definitely better if the first point of contact these people have is with you. And of course, strengthen your own empires, because the more empires you have, the more traffic you'll be able to convert every day. I think each of you would like to earn more. Naturally, the more empires you have, the more towers you have, the higher your daily limit that you can convert into tokens. Right, Taras?
About the strategy, well, I'll share my own experience. Yesterday or the day before, I made a post. I had a successful craft. I crafted a 3G tower from a 1G, and a few partners who have been watching me but had only put in $100 so far. They saw that I was succeeding and decided to each put in 1,000. And they ask, what's the strategy? What should we buy? Is it better to get one 4G, or how should we do it? I suggested this strategy to them. I like it myself. Buy 50 1G towers and upgrade all of them to level 6. Plus they'll add another 2x on top to finish upgrading. So 50 towers is $500 plus another $750 on top. And then they'll have the opportunity to earn more when they get a successful craft. So I work in a way that it's not too much of a burden for them, right? They can invest small amounts, but they'll have some regularity, some gameplay, some excitement. So what's my strategy?
Taras, that's awesome. Look, I'll say this. There are actually a lot of strategies here, and it all depends on the person and their interests. We just have different target audiences. There are people who want to find an approach where, by doing the same actions and spending the same resources, they have a chance to get something more, but they're willing to put in the effort, play around, and try things out for that. And then, on the other hand, there are people who want to think less, make things simpler for themselves, and earn as much as possible. Naturally, someone who only has, say, 5,000 and doesn't want to do more, doesn't want to get involved, this approach won't suit them, and you might even scare them off by saying, oh man, now you have to buy so much, go craft all this stuff, get involved in all of that. So you can position these as different strategies. There's a strategy for people who want to gain some gaming experience, and using that experience, try to turn the same amount of money they have into a larger sum by leveraging certain game mechanics that happen to work out for them, like a stroke of luck. If that's something you're interested in, then this strategy is for you. Of course, it's better to buy a lot of small towers. Personally, I'd rather not buy just 1G, I'd buy 2Gs, because hitting 4Gs from 2Gs feels much nicer and more rewarding than going from 1G to 3Gs. That's just how it is. Naturally, with 2Gs, you can run them and hit 4Gs. We have plenty of people who've managed to get 4Gs, even 5Gs. So this approach is for those kinds of people. For those who want to worry less, of course, it's better to buy more assets and profit from them. When people come to me, maybe they've heard about EvoSim somewhere, or they already know me, and they ask how to get started with EvoSim. I tell them, well, it depends on your capabilities. I myself say, if you have the incredible opportunity to make a fully maxed out account, then absolutely buy the maximum number of towers, specifically 4 max towers, 4G, and consider the significant profit you will undoubtedly get from that. If you have the available time, definitely buy 2G, meticulously craft them, because you will then be able to effectively grow your capital through the game's intricate crafting mechanics. And of course, if you need to exit, capitalize and upgrade these 4G. So the strategy is this: when you buy large assets and you have a large volume, you buy big assets from the profit, and from those big assets, you buy smaller assets like 2G and upgrade them, because potentially from 2G, you can get another 4G. For me, that sounds interesting. It means I can move very quickly along this path. So I can use the profit to upgrade to 4G, or I can use part of the profit now to buy 2G. Naturally, I have a chance that from one asset, I'll get a 5-fold return. That means my growth will be even greater and faster. Naturally, I'll get new 4Gs, which will start generating a lot of tokens for me, which I can again use to buy 2Gs, craft them again in order to get even more 4Gs. And of course, part of the profit goes into upgrading my own assets. I want to set aside, say, one or two. Maybe I want to set aside one 5G tower for myself, or two 4G towers that I want to upgrade to level 4 in order to craft a 5G and get a 5G. That's basically my approach, my strategy. So when someone close to me asks, someone who likes the sim and wants to get started, that's what I tell them. And of course, they won't be asking me what's the best way to start, because there is no best strategy. Everyone has their own approach. It all depends on how much time a person is willing to spend and how much money they're ready to invest here as well. Because usually, everyone's situation is different. If someone comes in with $100, then the strategy is different. You just need to take 2 assets, 2 Gs, and level them up there. Or buy 1 G and try to get lucky so you can level up 3 Gs at once. So for someone with a small asset, their goal is to accumulate as much as possible and participate in all activities. People complain to us like, I'm not making much profit, but it's really as much as the opportunities that your sim gives you daily. Some contests, some lotteries, some interactive activities on social media, Discord, some community rewards are paid out, and even in our Discord, there was a feature before this as well. We encourage people who use eSIMs, buy a sim, get a special role from us, receive some bonus tokens, get some perks, and a lot of people just don't even want to bother figuring it out because they have a lot of money and would prefer to do nothing and get everything overnight. But in reality, there are as many opportunities as you make use of. Even for a newcomer, someone who comes in like a bounty hunter, figures everything out, grabs a little bit here, grabs a little bit there, takes part in a contest, joins some activity, and goes somewhere else as well. Realistically, in a month or two, you can easily collect at least 3 grand just from all the bonuses you pick up, but you just have to actually do it. That's why there are so many strategies. Some for people who are just starting out, some for those who already have more assets, and there are strategies for those with more money about how to allocate it. Everyone has their own strategy, of course. Okay, perhaps let's consider taking just one more question if there happens to be one available, and then we will proceed to wrap things up for today. I've got calls coming up too. Yes, there is. Alexander has raised his hand. Can I speak now? Yes, of course.
Good evening, Alex. Thank you for an interesting meeting today. I have a question about team building. Yes. So right now, for example, you can't see how many people are in the first line, second, or third lines. And also, for example, I build my team by getting to know people using a special program. That is, I send out messages. And it's also important for me to see, for example, whether a person has registered or not, so I don't have to search through the list for a long time. Maybe it would be possible to add a feature where you enter a person's contact, press enter, and you can immediately see whether they are your partner or not. So when...
I understand. Well, I think, yes, we do have such an idea for the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course, we'll add a search function as well. We have a lot planned. If you look at our blog, you'll see a list of tasks we have. There's a lot, including search functions, filters for the affiliate program, and also an interface update to make things simpler and clearer for newcomers who are just getting acquainted with this type of marketing, so it will be easier for them to reach certain milestones, like the progress bar you mentioned, where you're currently at 50%, 70%, and so on. For that, you need to do this, this, and this. There will be tutorials and tips, because not everyone understands how to build things. That's it. There are, of course, a lot of tasks, and gradually, if you don't see something, it doesn't mean we're not working on it. The team works every day to roll out awesome updates for you. Well, I think you can see that. At least those of you who have been with us for a few months, you can see how much everything has changed. Those who were with us 6 months ago, you know how there was nothing back then, and now there's so much already.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so if that's basically everything, And there are no more questions. Thank you all very much for coming to today's meeting. I think this was useful for everyone. And for me, it was valuable to hear your feedback, to hear your attitude, your opinions, what you think, what interests you, what doesn't interest you, what you like, and what you don't like. It's always very important for me and our team to hear this. We are always very happy when we read feedback in the chats, even if people write something negative. Usually, negative comments are posted in the chat when something is wrong. But when we see positive feedback like, that was a great update, or the team did this, it's really convenient. It really makes the team feel good. I always forward those messages to the work chat. They all go, wow, awesome, thank you, and send heart emojis. So yeah, that's why I'm grateful to you as well for your feedback, for sharing what you like and what you don't like. And I wish all of us a productive August and to finish this summer well, whether you're at the sea, in the mountains, in your own city, in a calm atmosphere, or not so calm, whether you're working or not, however you're spending it, have an awesome August. If possible, achieve some cool new results, and in September, with a fighting spirit, new opportunities, new deadlines, and a new scale, burst in and light up the ecosystem of EvoSim. That's it. Goodbye, everyone. Wishing you all the best. Yes,